I want to provide some context for the tall girlies before I get into this episode. A few weeks ago, I went shoe shopping with a friend because I had a couple outings coming up, so I wanted to get some new shoes. But little did I know that that was going to be a bit difficult. But we'll get into that in a sec. We went into Nordstrom Rack, walked past the women's shoe section, size 5, size 6, size 7, rows and rows and rows of varieties of shoes. Sneakers, boots, heels, sandals, flats. All of them. And I was excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to find these in my size. So I get to my size section, a 9.5. Why is it only half of a row? Literally. So like a normal person, I'm like, okay, where's the rest of it? So I go around the corner, in the store around the corner from where the half of a row was. And I found another half row of size 9.5 shoes. And there were only 2 pairs of non-sneaker shoes there. I was like, huh. So I turn around and I see a wall of size 10 shoes, just sneakers and boots. Same with size 11. And I don't even think that location went past a size 11. And if they did, I didn't even see it because it wasn't visible in that area. Many tall women I've interviewed on this podcast have a size 11, 12, even size 13 shoe. So if I'm struggling with a size 9.5, are y'all good? Today, we're going to be talking about the shoe struggle that many tall women face and why this isn't spoken about enough. So let's get into it. Good morning, everybody. You are currently listening to a Tall Girls podcast hosted by a tall girl named India. I hope everyone who is tuning in today is doing super fantastic. Before I get into this episode, I do want to say, make sure you follow me on my socials at a Tall Girls podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest so that you can stay up to date on all of the latest podcast episodes and catch a glimpse of my everyday life. Also, feel free to leave me a review and let me know how tall you are. I'm genuinely curious. I also have a monthly newsletter. Make sure you subscribe to that. Everything is going to be linked in the description. When we talk about tall girl fashion struggles, it's the usual stuff like pants, jeans, dresses, shorts. But there's one thing that we don't talk about enough. Shoes. Specifically, finding nice shoes, finding cute shoes in extended sizing. So let's talk about it. Now, we all know that there's some type of correlation with height and shoe size. If you're taller, it's more likely that you have larger feet, and in turn, a larger shoe size. So according to Google, tall women 5'10" and up typically have a range of size 9 to 15 in US shoe sizes. And I'm about 5'10", a little taller than that, and I have a shoe size of 9.5. Sometimes a size 10 depending on the brand or the retailer or whatever. So I'm kind of at the beginning of that range that I previously gave. On the other hand, online, it says that the average shoe size of a woman in the US is about an 8.5. So yet another example of how tall women are falling outside of the industry norm, especially when it comes to the whole fashion thing. And I'm sure you know how the tall girlies feel about this. Let's hear from one of them.
Here's a privilege that doesn't get talked about enough. Small foot privilege. Never have I ever walked into a shoe store and felt confident that I was going to walk out with a pair of shoes that fit me and were also cute. Especially in a clearance section. If you were a 7, you could get a shoe at a Home Depot. But when you're walking in with clonkin' clown feet like me and you're looking for an 11, it's slim pickings, baby. And then you go up to an employee and you're like, hey, do you happen to have these in your big giant sizes for big giant people? And they're like, oh, no, we don't, but we can order them for you online. Oh, great, because getting shoes without trying them on first, perfect plan. Because these water ski feet just slide into everything I try. Perfect, yeah, order them up. Anyway, small foot privilege is a thing, so stop taking for granted your teeny little tootsies. Because I'm out here with NBA basketball player feet, and I'm not finding anything to dress them in. Stay large.
I did ask you guys in a poll on Instagram, and I'm just going to do a quick little plug here. Make sure you follow me at a Tall Girls podcast on Instagram so you can participate in these polls and have your opinions heard on these episodes. But I did ask you guys in a poll, tall girlies, what shoe size do you wear? 25% of you guys said a size range of 8 to 10. 75% said a size range of 10 to 13. And 0% said a size range of 13 and up. By the way, this is in US sizes. I probably should have specified in the poll, but I don't know. Most of the people who follow me are from the US. So I think they get it. But anyways, yeah, I think I kind of expected the results to be like this. Most of you guys being in a size range of 10 to 13, especially with interviewing a lot of you guys on the podcast, or you guys even just hitting me up. There's a lot of size 11s, size 12s, and maybe even size 13s. I think I got like one or two size 14s, but I guess they just never participated in this poll. But it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, very interesting results. So why isn't the footwear industry more size inclusive? Why don't brands carry more extended size shoes in store? Well, there's a few reasons for this, like perceived market demand, manufacturing costs, and a big one, lack of awareness and the stigma around women having larger feet. This creator and extended size shoe brand owner explains it really well.
My name's Natalie and I wear a size 12 in shoes. I know the struggle firsthand of what it's like to not find anything stylish that fits you. So that's why I founded my own footwear company, Aji. We cater to sizes 11 to 15, boots and heels. And I want to talk about why companies don't take the risk to extend their shoe size range. But I truly want to discuss this article that I actually wrote and posted today on our website. It talks about why footwear size inclusivity is not talked about in the fashion industry. Why isn't this in the mainstream? And what are the barriers? I go into more detail, but the main barriers are market demand, limited awareness, additional costs, and stigma. Stigma, I think, being one of the core issues of it all. It is very difficult for the fashion industry to come face to face with an issue that correlates to something that doesn't align with a beauty standard. It's truly a vicious cycle because the stigma leads to the lack of awareness. The lack of awareness leads to the lack of the market demand. And then the additional costs that the companies are faced when they take initiative scare them off. So it really takes guts to start a size extended footwear company in this modern day and age. However, it really should be seen as something that's more of a standard, that's more accepted and normalized because the demographic is very much out there.
And in her commentary, she brought up a really good point about how women with larger feet don't really align with the beauty standard. Women are supposed to be smaller and daintier. Just like how women aren't supposed to be tall, they aren't supposed to have larger feet either. Wasn't it like a thing several years ago where they tried to squeeze women's feet into smaller shoes in an effort to make their feet smaller so that they can appear more feminine and find a husband? I'm sure that was a thing. I'm gonna look into that.
Here's the saddest tradition in history: foot binding to prevent their growth. For over 1,000 years in China, these tiny feet were the ultimate symbol of femininity. As soon as little girls were 4 or 5 years old, their feet were soaked in hot water before being tightly bound with bandages, their toes curled underneath. They would then wear these tiny, pointed shoes, increasingly smaller for at least 2 years, until they reached the ideal size of 3 inches. Not only was this practice painful, but it was also extremely dangerous. It's estimated that 10% of women who underwent this procedure died from infections. The toes were deprived of blood and could fall off, which was actually good news because it resulted in an even smaller foot. But where did this tradition come from? Actually, we don't really know. Some say an empress who was born with malformed feet imposed the practice so she wouldn't be the only one. Others simply say that a dancer at the emperor's court bound her feet to dance, and it started the trend. It then became a sign of wealth, for with such feet, working was impossible. Only women from wealthy families could afford it. The practice then became widespread across the population. It was banned several times throughout history, but it wasn't until the 50s that it truly disappeared.
And I'm sure y'all heard that part where people have died from it, right? Died. Just so they can appear more feminine and find a husband. Be so for real. And while this practice has been banned, that mindset is still kind of there. Not necessarily the thing of, oh, women are supposed to have smaller feet to, I don't know, like find a husband or whatever. But more so, women are supposed to have smaller features in general. And that includes their shoe size. And so they're like, okay, because this is technically supposed to be the case and they're trying to appeal to the masses, it's kind of like, why should we sell extended size shoes, especially in store, and costs are going to be high and so forth. And so they tend to cater towards the masses rather than the perceived outliers because they think that the outliers are not necessarily important enough to cater cater to, or it would be too expensive to cater to them. And another point that I actually want to bring up that really isn't spoken about enough is the fact that your feet change as you age. So apparently the older you get, the bigger your feet get. So if you're a tall girly with a 10 or 11 shoe size now, I fear it gets worse from here. But is that actually a thing though? Like, do your feet actually get bigger as you age? Now, let's discuss the issues. Yes, plural, issues here, because the point here is to bring awareness to this, since this is a legit issue that a lot of tall women go through, a lot of tall women face. The first one being probably the most obvious, and that is not really carrying extended size shoes in store or carrying sizes beyond an 11 or 12 in store. Well, not even just in store, also in general, like even in online shops, but we like to try things on, so those not being in store also kind of creates an issue for us. Let's hear from a couple tall girls about this.
There's literally nothing more humbling than like brands being like, oh, I want to send you shoes. Like, what shoe size are you? And then you tell them and they're like, oh, we don't make that size shoe. Like, justice for my big feet girlies. Like, this isn't fair. I can never find good affordable shoes that are like super trendy. Like, I either have to buy men's shoes or I have to like go to Nordstrom Rack, TJ Maxx, and like hope that they have something somewhat cute in my shoe size.
Can I just go on a rant for a second? Can we start stocking shoes, like nice heels in size 11, maybe even 10 and a half? Oh my God. I just went to the shops and I was ready to drop some money and buy myself a nice new pair of heels. Do you think I could find a pair that fit me? No. Oh my goodness. No one, I mean, yes, people probably have size 6 feet, but most girls these days have big feet. I'm one of those girls. I have size 10 and a half, 11. I'll squeeze into a 10 and a half. Just give me something more than a 10. This has really got me. I just wanted a nice new pair of heels.
Now, let's say that they do sell a size 12 or 13 shoe or have a size 12 or 13 section in a store. Great, awesome, amazing. But where are the heels? Where are the sparkly cowboy boots that I see the size 6, size 7 girlies wearing? Why are you selling size 12 Tims in the middle of summer? It's 90 degrees outside. Like, it's literally hot outside and that's all you can give us? Basically what I'm saying here is, yes, a brand may sell a size 12 shoe or a size 13 or size 14 even, but the variety isn't there. It could predominantly just be sneakers and maybe some boots, but there's like no flats or heels or sandals or other things that the smaller size girlies, the smaller shoe size girlies wear, or even like the trending shoes. Let's take a listen to this.
Please, this is a message for anyone who is in charge of designing shoes. Girls who are tall and have big feet, we want the pretty shoes with the glitter. Please do size 10. Size 10, please. Because some of us are stuck wearing men's and we don't want to wear men's shoes. It's not nice. You don't feel cute. You want to be a girly girl. But I can't be a girly girl. Thank you.
I'm convinced that the shoe industry doesn't want tall women to have nice shoes. Because why are the crusty hiking boots available in a size 12 and up, but not like a cute heel or sandal? I guess the message here is your feet are big, so you don't deserve cute shoes. It's literally a saying. The shoe makes the outfit. And if you don't want our fit to look fire, just say so. I mean, they practically are saying so by not having extended size shoes or having more shoe size inclusivity. And then there isn't something that really isn't widely spoken about, and that is men's shoes. So oftentimes as tall women, we find ourselves in the men's section to try to find clothes that are long enough for us, or even clothes that are of better quality too, because I think that men's clothing has better quality than women's clothing, but whatever, we're not here to talk about that. Just like some tall women venture into the men's section for clothing, like tops and pants and whatever, The same thing happens for tall women with shoes. Sometimes they venture into the men's shoe section. And I'm not gonna lie to you, sometimes I do too, because why do men's shoes kind of have like cooler, better styles at times, especially with sneakers? However, that's not just an easy 1, 2, 3 solution. It's not that simple. There actually have been complaints about that because just like how with men's clothing, the proportions can be weird on our bodies, on women's bodies, the same kind of applies with men's shoes because some tall women have found them to be extremely uncomfortable. Let's listen to this tall girly really quickly.
All right, here's a thing about being tall. Do y'all want to hear the thing? It's that they don't make shoes in your size. Like they don't want you to walk. Like a woman's shoe typically, depends on the brand, stops at an 11. Like that's the generic, we can cut it there. Some will go to a 12, like my friends from Nike. What are we doing? Why are we stopping at a 12? Little athletic store, but like you stop at a 12. I don't wear a 12. I wear bigger than a 12. So I have to wear men's shoes. I've worn men's shoes since I could walk. That's all I know. That's all I remember. But like, I'm just sitting here debating because I bought new shoes. They're cute. They're kind of like, they're a size 11 in men's is like, there's not enough length, but then I put on 11 and a half and I could fit 6 of my feet in here. Someone do something about this. Someone make shoes bigger in women's. I'm begging you.
And honestly, the tall girlies on Reddit summarize everything I just said. It's rare to find shoes in their size or find a variety of shoes in their size or shoes just being ugly or uncomfortable. I did ask you guys in a poll, what is the biggest problem you've had with finding your shoe size? 25% of you guys said can't find my size in store. 25% said there isn't much of a variety in my size. 17% said the shoes I find are uncomfortable, and 33% said all of the above. Wow. A lot of shoe struggles here. To be honest, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I don't really go shoe shopping like that. I'm more of a sneaker girly, and that's literally it. But I don't know, recently I've been trying to change things up or whatever, and now I kind of lean towards that there isn't much of a variety in my size. Like, yeah, there's a variety in the 9.5, but that's when the variety starts decreasing, I assume. And, you know, coming from the previous results, being most of you have like a size or in the size range of 10 to 13 in shoe size, I can definitely see how all of these can be a problem. Is there a solution to this disaster? Oh my gosh, I'm getting throwbacks to, you guys know the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, that TV show, and Esteban with like 17 middle names has that tagline, "This is a disaster."
This is a disaster!
That's kind of like how I'm feeling about this shoe, or honestly just the whole fashion struggle, clothing struggle, shoe struggle, whatever that tall women face. Anyways, is there a solution to this disaster? Yes, because where there's a will, there is a way. But before I get into that, I want to open up the floor. Where are the tall girlies getting their shoes from? Like size 11 and up. And not just sneakers, okay? I'm talking about some cute stuff that you want to wear to the summer cookouts, you know? But there are brands out there who see and hear us and have even experienced a lot of the things that we've gone through. We have Tall Size, which is basically a bunch of brands, a bunch of tall brands under one roof. So Tall Size is basically a marketplace that's home to several tall girl brands out there, okay? And it's not just like, you know, the dresses, the pants, and so forth and so on. They also have a lot of shoe brands out there that have extended sizes. I also interviewed the founder of Trey Souls, Judy, on this podcast, so Trey Souls is another cool place to check out. We also have Goa Shoes. I've also interviewed them on this podcast. They're basically similar to Tall Size, just located in the UK, I believe, and it's shoes only, not other types of clothing. And of course, if you know any other ideas or any other brands out there, please let us know. Please educate us. I know I have practically little to no right to complain about this because, I mean, I'm a size 9.5 and I do feel like there are a lot more options and there's a lot more brands and retailers that offer size 9 shoes. Like, there's a lot more variety in my sizing as well. But I'm like a representative of the tall girl community. That sounds so weird to say. But I will complain on y'all's behalf. I ride for y'all. I ride for the tall girlies. Tall women deserve to feel confident in what they wear from head to toe, to feel feminine, to feel beautiful. Just like we deserve pants and dresses that fit our length, we also deserve shoes. So I think I'm going to end the episode here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you. Of course, as always, feel free to hit me up on my socials and let me know what you thought about this episode. Have you also struggled with finding shoes in your size if you're like a size 10, 11 and up? Like, what are some of the struggles there? What are the brands that you've discovered over time that cater to your size and also have a good variety of shoes? How do you feel about the whole footwear industry not necessarily being size inclusive? Because yes, while we're getting better, we're also not quite there yet. I want to have a whole discussion about this, okay? Feel free to comment if you're listening on YouTube, or if you're not able to comment where you're watching or listening, feel free to DM me and let's just chat about this. And until then, I'll catch y'all in the next one. Good night and goodbye.